Hey guys, Brent Hull Build Show in Detroit, actually in Indian Village with my buddy Shane, a restoration contractor I've discovered on this trip, a great resource. He lives in Indian Village and he's come and shown us around. I want to show you some awesome houses, some great details, some beautiful design and construction. Now, if you watch my Buildings and Brew video on Unpeered Revival, you'll read all about this or you'll watch all about this, but this is one of the nicer houses in the neighborhood. Tell me a little bit about this one.
I don't know much about this house. It was purchased a few years ago from someone that lives out of state, and they've been slowly restoring it, but I don't believe that anyone actually lives here right now.
But this, represents the revival that's taking place in Detroit right now, right? That this was a rundown thing bought by someone from out of state, foreseeably that they're just it's a real estate play.
Absolutely.
And so, but it's an incredibly beautiful house. It's well constructed. It's beautifully made. A lot of the original motor dealer people, Fords and stuff, lived in this neighborhood. So it's a wonderful neighborhood. Come join us. It's going to be an awesome trip today on the Build Show. What I love about this, these are 1920s ish homes, 1910, 20s. We don't have this kind of housing stock in Texas. We were just growing up. Detroit had been here longer. So the quality of houses that we're seeing here is really high. The entries of these colonials are great. The Tudors have carved barge boards. The elements and details in these houses are awesome. So check it out. We're going to just drive through this awesome neighborhood. So one thing you'll notice is that there are, in some of these houses, there's no front door, which I've never seen before. But there are houses that don't have a front door. We'll point some of these out.
So yeah, there are probably 15 to 20 homes in here that don't have front doors. And the idea behind it was the architects didn't want it to be an overwhelming prominent feature of the home when you walked up to it. So they actually put the front door on the side of the house.
Which is what your house is.
Correct.
Yeah. And some of these houses are bigger than others. Some of these are quite grand, and others, they're about 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 feet?
Yeah, some of them are 4,000, 5,000 on the smaller end. On the larger end, some of them go 12 to 14,000.
And this would have been who would have lived here in 1920?
A lot of automotive barons, but the richest of the rich in the early 1900s lived here. So if you were an industrialist, if you had any kind of large business, you would have lived in here.
Interesting. Here, slow down. So here's one of those houses that is, an Italian Renaissance house. You see the shutters with the little diamond pattern up there. That was a real popular detail in the 20s, but no front door in this house, which is odd. But it works. It's cool, right? It has a really pretty presence. And then look at this English Tudor one over here on the right. And this is the kind of detail I'm talking about. You've got the chimneys on top that have the twisted, which is an Elizabethan Tudor kind of element with the chimney pots above, great leaded glass, cool door, carved limestone surround. I mean, there's just a number of great details that, and they're everywhere. So community garden, is that what this is?
This is actually part of this school. This is the Waldorf Elementary School. It's a high-end private elementary school.
Okay, so this is their
it's their playground, outdoor classroom area.
So if you notice, very traditional stylings, right? We're early 1900s, a lot of colonials, right? Tudors, that Italian. So this is all period revival. If you see my Buildings and Brew talk, this is all that 1920s period. Is that the back of that house?
That's the back of that one.
One of the details we're going to go look at is a Tudor revival or English style house that has a faux thatch roof. And what they did was they actually, is that a cedar?
It's cedar shake, and they layered it up and varied the numbers of layers, so it gives it a wavy look.
It gives it a wavy look, and it also comes around the eave too, so you're actually going to see it almost bulbous on the side. It's going to look like it's really thick, which is really something you see in the books and in the catalogs, but typically what happens is they've changed the roofs later on, they've changed the asphalt, it no longer has that character and appeal, but this one still does. So this is the middle street we're about to go on to.
Correct, this is Iroquois. So all three of these, there was a horse racing track here originally before they turned it into a subdivision, or a development, I should say.
Nice.
And each of the streets were named after horses that ran in the races. So you have Burns, Iroquois, and Seminole.
Okay, so here's the house here on the left. And can we get out? Think they
Yeah,
mind if we film
absolutely.
it?
I know the owner.
Okay, good. Okay, so my understanding was this was meant to look like a thatch roof, and it's done in cedar.
Correct.
And you see, if you look at it, if you were in my Buildings and Brew talk about period revival, some of the things that was characteristic of the English and French style houses, they had roofs like this, beams and stuff that would actually sway and move. So you'd see tons of character in the quality of these houses. The fact that they have mimicked this, right? Imagine building this. How do you set up that roof? What does the rafter detail look like, right?
I believe that those rafters are flat, and then you had a 1x sheathing on it, and then they layered these cedar shakes to get the look.
Really? But you'd have to layer them up. I mean, like
ask the owner.
Stacks. This is tons of character, tons of detail into this house that, this was the extent that they would go to try to capture that European feel, that rustic feel that they were so charmed by after World War I.
Mark,
Howdy.
good to see you.
Likewise. How are you?
Doing well.
Good.
My
Hi,
friend
Brent Hull. You don't need to take your gloves off.
All right. How you doing?
Nice to meet you.
How are you doing? Buddy?
So, were you involved in the rebuild of this roof?
No, that was the previous owner.
Okay.
And frankly, I think they saved the house because otherwise it was wrecked.
Really?
It was really wrecked. It had a lot of water damage, a lot of, and it was rentals for years. So
Okay.
that just tears up houses.
Wow.
At least around here. So.
Do you know how they built it? That roof?
Yeah, well, this is the original style of roof. I have
Right.
a picture from 1916. The only difference was there wasn't quite as much of a thickness. The reveal of the shingles was a little more even,
Okay.
but that's basically a clone, and they had to steam bend all of the shingles to get a
steam bend them,
steam
yeah.
box and sort of get them nice.
That's
and-
awesome. And do they have the regular straight rafters that they build up on
Straight
top?
rafters with stringers. So
With
it's
stringers.
like a 1x2s or 1x4s, and then they would put just right on top of that the shingles.
But how do they get the movement in top of the roof?
They just basically, where you get the slight waves,
Mm-hmm.
you just shut down the what do they call it? The
You-
face
Yeah.
of the
That's what you
shingle
were
from
saying.
say
Yeah,
5
so
inches
they're-
to 2 or 3,
So it
and then
builds
that would
that up.
stack it up. Yeah.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
So they actually are thicker then because
Oh,
you
yes.
have a smaller reveal.
Yes.
And this is the second roof?
It's the third or fourth. The original wood shingle roof, because it was at Northern Michigan stuff, lasted a long time. And it got an asphalt roof.
So it did have an
Some
asphalt
point,
roof.
yeah. And then that was let to where it was leaking badly. And then this roof got put on in '95.
95.
So,
And so do you see underneath? Do you see the sleepers or where it's breathing
well,
and everything?
I used to.
Yeah.
I put in vents
Okay.
and then put closed cell foam
Okay.
because it was cold.
Yeah.
I mean, that was it. You could get cold air coming in through that. The only thing was the plaster, and that was compromised. So
Wow.
yeah, it was a very cold house.
So you had plaster on the bottom side of the rafters
Right.
for the finished look.
Yeah,
Got it.
but where you took it off, and then eventually, actually, that window up there, we had we took out the old. It was one of those old whole house fans with a grate.
Oh, right, yeah.
We took it and got those sonotubes down to a dumpster, and I had 2 kids. It took them about 2 months, and they gutted all of the plastic.
To get all the plaster and the lath out of
and
that
it was
third
2
floor.
dumpsters worth, 2, roll-ons. So
And
no,
this-
excuse me, 3 axle dumpsters.
And
And
this
that
worth
probably
of
packs
stuff.
pretty tight too.
Yes, it is.
this
heavy.
house was built when? 20s?
1916.
16.
Yep.
Okay.
Kind of interesting. It has no frame.
Solid masonry.
It's solid clay tiles.
Right.
Those early cinder
Structures,
blocks,
yeah.
but they're a lot more like brick with the pebble dash right on top of it.
Okay.
So, and then inside, the foundation mimics the first floor plan. So you basically have everything sitting on solid. And then for the floor joists for the second and third
So
floor,
even your
they
interior
just pockets.
walls, your interior walls are the structural clay tile?
No,
Oh,
they'd
studs.
fur out one bias and then put the lath and plaster on.
Okay,
So actually the walls stay pretty warm.
interesting.
I did a kind of a quickie analysis with a camera, and an inside wall had the same temperature as an outside wall, assuming that there weren't any cracks or something.
Awesome. Thank you.
So-
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
That was an awesome house. Can you imagine steam bending then?
It's an unbelievable amount of work. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen how long that took. I mean, weeks and weeks, right?
And the fact that it's the fourth roof, it sounds like at least the second cedar shake roof.
Yeah, it's that's impressive. So we are, there's bigger houses up here. Is that the deal? Mm-hmm. So in one half, the nicer, closer to one street or something, they're a little bit bigger.
Yeah, I think just the period that they built the homes, it looks like the wealthiest people lived a few blocks up here.
Okay.
That is a large roof deck that you can walk around on.
Yeah, that's nice.
This could have been that slate roof.
That was it. What you're looking at is a staggered slate roof, right? And so the bigger slate would be closer to the bottom, and look how they get smaller at the top. And so they would have actually, laid out this roof so that it's variegated colors, which is, more expensive. The older the slate roofs, you have a variety of colors, but that staggering was meant to kind of create an illusion of size so that it looked bigger than it actually is. But you're also changing, you're stacking up your slate, so you've got bigger slate at the bottom and smaller slate at the top. Really takes a lot of work to do that. Again, another detail that we don't really have in Texas, which is awesome.
A lot of attention to detail.
A lot of
All
attention
of
to
these
detail,
homes are
right?
very ornate, and
Yeah. Here's a Italian kind of Renaissance style. You got the barrel tile roof. You got that stonework, the carving, that ornamentation, coining around the windows. I mean, it's awesome. You got a little oriel on this Tudor right here. That little thing that sticks out over the top is called an oriel.
the sweep on the left.
No, that window that comes out over the top. Again, just greatness. Here's a local church or a very big house. Look at the brickwork on this one. Slow down a sec. So they've got a bonding pattern. That's a Flemish bonding pattern on that brick, and which is actually that's an English bond. But what happens is, and I was just talking to Ben about this, is that you know, the understanding that when you change the header course and the running bond and how it changes right there, and the gauge brick over the windows, all are just, like you were saying, attention to detail that is really cool.
There's another one that doesn't have.
Oh yeah, no front door. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of them, aren't there?
Yep, here's one. That one goes.
It's almost a Charleston kind of thing, right? I mean, where they put the door on the side. It's really interesting.
This one also door on the side. This was one of the Ford family's homes.
Oh, yeah,
I
look
forget
at
which
that.
one. I want to say it was Etzel Ford's wedding gift or summer house.
Nice. I think I got a wedding gift like that when I was
Historic home.
exactly.
These are both Albert Kahn homes.
Famous architect.
Yep,
Both these, one right and left.
correct.
Yeah. Yeah, all limestone.
Two of my
great
favorite houses
details.
in here.
Yeah, those are awesome. I wonder if that was an addition on the back of that house or whether that was.
Looks like it may have been.
Yeah. Is this the street? You would get
Yeah,
out and walk?
these are where you get into some of the bigger homes.
Wow, look
They
at
had
the
a tennis
brackets
court
on that
here
one.
where this yard is that they
Oh,
just
is that
took out
right?
a year or two ago.
Yeah, these are awesome, aren't they?
This house is amazing with the slate roof. It has an unbelievable number of chimneys. I've never counted them, but I mean, I can see at least 5, 6 from here.
Wow. Yeah, it's a nice house, isn't it? That beautiful porte-cochere.
And a lot of these houses had detached carriage houses with finished living space above, and that's where your driver or your chauffeur would have lived.
So you see this English tudor. Look at the pegging they've done in the timber work over that doorway.
Yeah, it's almost like a timber frame.
It's almost like a timber frame, right? And so the brackets, the way those are brought out there, they even have the pegging over the windows around the surround.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, again, attention to detail. I have seen this, you know, kind of entry, and one of the things that I love is I'm always talking about scale and proportion when I'm talking about building, and all of these entries have, and these houses have great scale and proportion. The size of the column is appropriate. There's a full entablature above. This, you know, creating that kind of roof there with that real thin barrel, you know, arch that goes over top, it's hard to do, right? And so it requires, you know, more skill. And that is a beautiful entry there where you got a fan light, you got a broken pediment over top. I mean,
And if you look, that has a built-in box gutter
yeah.
so that you don't have an exposed gutter like you do
I
here.
did a whole video on those box gutters, and they're hard to maintain, right?
Absolutely.
But they are a beautiful way. You notice the way the downspouts come down, you don't have the big arm like this one coming off.
Correct.
I suspect most of these had that, right?
There are quite a few.
Yeah, and so, you know, they got rid of them because they were hard to clean, and sometimes they leaked if they weren't built right. But, you know, when you have those ugly things coming down, you realize why they did it.
But even just the sweep in the roof, how it goes from low slope to the steeper slope is phenomenal.
Well, when you can stand in front of houses like this and start picking out details and just stay there, there's what I tell clients, there's a layering that, you know, an attention to detail that you go, oh, look, they did the gauge brick, or oh, look, they did that, or oh, look at the sweep like you just did.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome.
And every house has their own set of intricate details to it.
Yeah. So you're very lucky to live here. Thank you so much for showing this to me. This is incredible. I mean, what a beautiful neighborhood.
It's a great area.
Indian Village.
It's called Indian Village in
right.
Detroit.
So if you're in Detroit, you want to come out here, we're coming which way from downtown?
We are just east of downtown.
Okay, so if you're east of downtown, drive through Indian Village. It's just 3 streets. They're a mile long, so there's plenty to look at. But, you know, the trees coming in, the spring happening, the beautiful houses, it's a definite visit when you come here, Indian Village in Detroit. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and Facebook, Hull Millwork Hull Homes. Sign up for the newsletter, and if you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. I'm Brent Hull. Thanks for watching.